So imagine a beautiful world, where doctors do exactly what they should. They teach, they educate it, and they're never misguided by sales tactics and flashy dinners. Yeah, we don't live in that world. Today we're diving into a hot topic. What should mid-sized and small pharma companies need to consider when setting up speaker programs? First off, speaker programs can be powerful when done right. You're sharing new data, you're sharing clinical insights, or you're sharing real-world experience with healthcare professionals. But they can also backfire, especially if they've drifted into disguised promotion and that's unintentional. So let's unpack a few key steps. If you like this episode, hit subscribe so you'll never miss another compliance deep dive. Let's start by discussing goals. The first is promotional in nature. It's done to keep your product name in the limelight and ideally increase prescribing. There are clear rules on how to do it, and these rules are broken so routinely that speaker programs are now inherently suspect as per a fraud alert from the OIG from 2020. Then there are educational programs. These are often your CMEs or your CEs, and there are rules to follow here. If done wrong, according to the 2022 advisory opinion, these are also problematic. But there are ways to do both of these right. In either scenario, if it's mainly about the wine and the dinner and the exclusive retreats, if you're promising perks, you have red flags. Always ask, what will the attendees learn? If you cannot answer that clearly, pause the plan. Let's assume that it's about honest education, it's about sharing the latest study results, it's about addressing a known knowledge gap. All of that's a good sign. Let's start by talking about speaker selections. Who's speaking on the topic? Are your invited speakers actually credible on the topic? Or are they simply top prescribers who know the drug? Top prescribers who know the drug are often cited by courts and the government as being suspect. There must be a documented educational rationale. Maybe they lead a specialty clinic where new data is being discovered, or maybe that new data matters. Maybe they've written extensively on the topic. Whatever the rationale, the document must be in writing. This documentation must be preserved. Here's a question for you, our listeners. What challenges have you faced picking speakers? Drop us a note or a comment. Then there's content design. Build an agenda with a clear learning objective. For example, review new phase 3 data on efficacy and safety in specific patient groups. You want to ideally include balanced discussion of risks. Use real-life case studies or real-world scenarios where appropriate. If it's a sales pitch, and it can be a sales pitch in certain conditions, avoid it being a one-sided sales pitch that's disguised as a science update. And then everything must go through medical, legal, and regulatory review. You want to check for unapproved claims or a promotional slant. Now, some of you may be thinking about the SIUU guidance, and you may be thinking about the CFL guidance. We can talk about that, but that is being considered, and the courts are not required to keep that in mind. That is not a safe harbor that you think it is, especially now that we've moved towards intended use away from the off-label conversations.
Enjoying our content? We'd love to hear more. Please like, comment, share, and find more.
Let's now discuss budget and venue. Keep spending in line with formal policies. You need to have those formal policies, and you need to keep adhering to those formal policies. If you are a small to mid-sized company, budgets may be tighter, and that's okay. Use modest venues or use virtual forums. Focus on content over flash. If you propose a higher end location, document why it's necessary. Maybe it's a central city location for multiple geographic attendees or for special equipment needs. Always record attendee lists, agendas, and feedback forms to show genuine participation. Now, let's discuss documentation. Documentation is critical. Track invitations, track confirmations, track signed agreements for honoraria or consulting fees. If the event is canceled, only pay for the actual work, like slide prep. Don't use slides and presentation as a reward for prescribing. Payment timing should follow services rendered, not prescribing behavior. Now, let's talk about attendee selection. We discussed speakers, and let's discuss the attendees. You want to invite HCPs, healthcare practitioners, with a real connection to the topic. Those treating the condition or involved in research, not their wives, not their office manager. Keep the invite list focused. Don't treat it like a broad marketing push. Collect sign-in sheets or virtual attendance logs. Use surveys to capture what attendees learned. This provides educational values if regulators ask. You must have a medical legal regulatory team, also called the MLR team or the PRC team, the promotional review committee. Use it. Every slide deck, every handout, every promotional email must go through this team to confirm accuracy and balanced risk discussions. Just sending it through Viva isn't enough. Describe context, describe need, discuss location and goals. Legal must review compliance with FDA and non-FDA agencies that are looking at things like the anti-kickback laws. This is a simple step, but it's often under-resourced companies that avoid this step, and that's where expert support can help.
Find related podcasts below.
Let's discuss compliance. Encourage your teams to flag any idea that sounds too salesy. Leadership needs to set the tone. Speaker programs are about sharing knowledge, they're not driving scripts. Regular training sessions can help medical liaisons, they can help marketing and legal teams align on expectations and on red flags. What about virtual or hybrid events? Post-pandemic, most programs mix online and in-person options. Virtual can be great. It's a lower cost, it's got a wider reach, but still needs clear objectives. Interactivity, verification of engagement, and documented review must happen. Don't slide into these informal webinar formats that lack substance. Let's talk about trends. Regulators keep calling out sham programs. There have been a series of lawsuits on the topic. Small, mid-sized firms must realize that they are under the radar, but these patterns get noticed. High-profile cases do show that big players are facing fines, as are small players. It's not just a theory, it's a practical risk. If you value your reputation and you want to avoid costly investigations, invest in proper design from the start. Now let's discuss auditing. Build an audit framework, review past events for gaps, adjust policies, train teams, and set up periodic checks. For new products, involve legal early. You want them involved in that planning stage. And then stay updated. Guidance evolves, laws evolve, court decisions evolve, and if questions rise, please ask the experts. Thanks for tuning in. If you've run into tricky speaker program questions, share your experience. Send us your scenario. And remember, if you need legal advice on speaker programs or broader compliance, reach out to the Kulkarni Law Firm. We help small to mid-sized pharma and medical device companies build solid, compliant programs that educate healthcare practitioners and avoid risks. See you next time.
Call, click, or email